just a couple of general things in terms of RAC. Firstly, some of you may be existing users of RAC, some of you may be new or looking into RAC. So I'm hoping to be quite comprehensive in what I do in the RAC training over the next 8 weeks. So some of it is going to be a repeat, but I'm hoping that for most there are going to be a few aha moments where you see, oh, okay, that's how it's supposed to be going. So I've actually got 4 RAC files ready, and I'm going to be switching between them during the course of the presentation this morning. So when I switch, you're probably going to see something like this happening. It's going to briefly flash something slightly different in your screens before it updates to the next screen. And the reason for that is within RAC, we've actually built 4 different sized methodologies into our one audit methodology. And I want to go through and show you step by step what the differences are between these methodologies, so that when it comes to choosing which is the best for you to use in your audit, you know and have an idea of what differences you're going to see along the way, so that you can make that decision, an informed one. Firstly, just to start out the layout of the file, I've already imported a trial balance and such into these files, so I'm not going to go through that process or even creating the file. What you need to be aware of in terms of the RAC layout is where things start, and today's session is going to be on all these working papers in section 10, which is our engagement and team setup. Now, theoretically, before you can commence any audit, you should have already done engagement, acceptance, and continuance procedures. However, I know in practice it's sometimes difficult to get those things done without actually having a file. So maybe on the one hand, we're assuming you're already going to be accepting this client, and then you fill in this engagement, acceptance, and continuance, but then at least you can document those steps that you took before you commenced with the audit. So it's a bit of a mix and match, and we need to go and decide on materiality so that we can actually choose the audit sections. But in general, this is where you're going to start on any engagement, and that is in section 10. We will commence next week with a planning phase. You would then move down through the file. Eventually you'd have audit programs, and the finalization section is actually 00 to 09. Part of the reason for that is you probably want your final set of financial statements to be the very first document in your file at the end of the day. So that would usually, you'd number it like a 00.10 or 00.05, so that it's right on top of your audit file at the end of the day, and then your prior financials and stuff. So we've actually only started numbering from 02 in the finalization. That gives you scope to use 00 and 01 in any way that you would like to within your firm. Now I'm going to open up 10.00, and as I do that, I'm going to be opening it up on one of my other copies of the file here as well. When you open up any RAC document, one of the first things you should be seeing is a guidance sheet. And here is a very good example in 10.00. Now the first thing it's going to do is it's going to indicate to you exactly which ISAs are being addressed by this working paper, and where it's more than just the ISAs, as is the case here, the ISQC1 paragraphs that this particular document addresses. It'll then go through an objective. In this case, there's some explanation of concept. In other working papers, it goes through what we call actions, action 1, 2, 3, 4, those things that you need to do within the file. So it's going to give you firstly the theoretical background, but I don't copy and paste the ISA documentation. That is there for you to go and look up, and you know where to look the various information up. The guidance generally is supposed to be a more hands-on how-to approach, so that will be described in the guidance sheet. Why? Please go and read the ISAs. Now this document happens to be one where we do actually pull in quite a bit of theory, and that specifically relates to the PIS score considerations, a number of items from the Psycho Companies Act guide. Now we've included this because the PIS score is a very important calculation to make. Once again, there's an assumption that you have already decided that you are going to audit this client, but we still have a PIS score calculation built into this engagement acceptance document so that once again you can document the reasoning behind why you've ended up with an audit, even though your PIS score might be low. So as we go through the document, we'll just go through the ins and outs of that. Then if we go into the first sheet, I just want to switch over to my Medium client and we can go and have a look at this sheet. Now, the first question here is asking about whether this is a new or continuing engagement. I just want to delete the answer in there quickly so that you can have a look, and I want to cover what colors mean within Draftworx. So you will see initially when you open up for the first time, you'll actually see that this grouping is open. But what we have found is that because we have these headings in a lot of working papers and we have a frozen pane, it's like the freeze panes in Excel as well, so that as you scroll, you can always see the heading, that starts creating and using up a lot of real estate on your screen. So most of, if not all, of the headings, or shall I say the document headers, are actually sitting in a grouping that you can close to enable you to open up more real estate on your working paper. Depending on your screen layout, I generally don't need that, but I work on a 27-inch full HD screen, so I've got a lot of space to see stuff. But if you're sitting in one of the older laptops, you've still got a smaller resolution on your screen, you're going to need more space. On top of that, if you need even more, you can also hide the ribbon bar within Draftworx, and simply double-clicking on the formatting or in any one of these headings will close that ribbon bar. You can still access it, so if you click on it, it does open the ribbon bar and you can make the necessary selections. Or if you want to put it back permanently, you don't need to reinstall Draftworx to do it. Just double click and it'll reopen that ribbon bar for you. So this is just all about real estate on your screen, how to go about things. And then the colors, you will see that the header has always got this blue highlighting. It's a slightly darker blue. Later on you'll see some light blue, and that's just to distinguish it from the rest. The copyright notice is only found on 10.00, but the copyright stands for the entire methodology. The grey areas are just to indicate where there are questions, and the slightly darker grey to give an indication of just maybe some more prominent headings in your working paper. And then this first question you'll see at the moment is sitting in yellow. All the yellow cells indicate some form of compulsory or necessary input that we need from the user. Now in this case the question is about whether this is a new or continuing engagement. And I need to know that because the next document in the file, 10.01, is a predecessor auditor review. And you only need to do that if it's a new engagement. If it's a continuing engagement, I actually switch that off. And I'll show you what happens when I do that in a few moments. Then the green cells are where we're expecting some sort of user input. It may not be compulsory. You might just want to put a not applicable, but it's just to give you an indication of where you should be completing information. You will see as well, if I scroll down a little bit further on this working paper, see if it just also, you'll see that there are some white cells that pop up. Now this is calculated information, but it doesn't require a user input. Before I did the EQCR evaluation, and we'll have a look at that in a moment, this cell was yellow because there needed to be some user interaction with a cell to actually go and decide whether or not we're going to be doing an EQCR. So that you would then follow the hyperlink, do the documentation, and you come back and the cell is white. So it's not something you've entered in there. There's a formula there, but it is calculated based on other values within the file. Okay. You will also see later on in the file there are red cells. Now the red cells indicate some form of an error or a problem with the selections that you've made. So for instance, if you've said yes to an assertion where you shouldn't have said yes, it'll come in red to show you that this is actually wrong. You have to do something now, otherwise there's an error that's going to carry through the file. And you'll also see later on some light blue cells, and I'm just going to highlight one of these cells in the light blue so that you can see this distinction. I'm not sure how clearly it's going to come through on the webinar, but there is a slight difference between this pale green and the pale blue. The pale blue specifically relates to what we call roll forward cells. We're not going to see any of those today, we'll only see them next week. But these cells you will often find have a fairly complex formula sitting in them already, but that's okay. That formula is trying to carry over last year's information from the database into this year for you. If you are doing RAC for the first time on a client, you won't see anything in here, it'll be blank. And that indicates that there's nothing to roll forward from the previous year. But if you do see those blue cells, it is worth completing them comprehensively, because this information will then roll forward to the next financial year, which is going to make your audit next year a whole lot easier. The way we've designed RAC, even if we do template updates, changes to the working papers, when you roll forward, we pull in the absolute latest templates for you so that you have the latest information available and the latest questions, the latest updates available in your new file, but we are able to maintain the information integrity anyway. It's not a conversion process, so it's not a half-hour process to try and update the file. It's instant because of the way we've written the formulas. It just dumps the new working paper templates in, and the information is already available and inserted there for you. All right, so that is just a general idea. Sorry, one other thing I want to point out is you will see that there is no formula bar. Now, the formula bar is still available. We've just chosen to switch it off for RAC. It can be switched back on. The problem is that a lot of people were seeing these strange formulas in various cells and thinking they can't insert values in there, and we didn't want that to become a hindrance to completing information correctly. Even if there is a formula, very often if it's a green or a blue cell, you can actually go and complete information. That formula is more about trying to pull information from the previous year forward than about anything that it's trying to extract from the file in the current year. So we've just hidden that formula bar to make life a little bit easier. However, if you do need the formula bar for any workings, or if you want to check your content on the cell, you can go to the View tab and you will see that there is a formula bar option. At the moment it's highlighted. You actually need to click it twice to implement the formula bar or bring the formula bar in. I'm just going to use the highlighting tool to show you where that formula bar is sitting in case you've missed it. And I'm now going to go and click it twice. Okay, and then my formula bar has returned. Okay. So at the moment in this working paper there aren't really any formulas sitting in any of these cells, but if you do need that formula bar for any reason, that's where you can go and put it on and off if you're no longer needing it. Although when you reopen a file, it'll automatically default back to being switched off.